It might surprise you to hear that computer science majors at UT and other top universities have only recently become extremely competitive. During the first year that I worked at UT in 2011, UTCS received fewer than 600 applications and admitted over 50% of its applications. Back then, petroleum engineering was the most desirable and competitive major since the price of oil was around $100, and I think it's like $60 today. However, 5 years later, computer science received more than 5 times the number of applications for around 2,700. But even then, the admissions rate was still over 20%. It frustrates me that UT refuses to make the CS admission statistics public, but I suspect that the range nowadays is between 10 and 13,000 in recent cycles while admitting around 700 students. I looked at a comparison with UC Berkeley, who has published their CS stats, and fewer than 4% of Berkeley's computer science applicants gained admission. I suspect application numbers have skyrocketed in recent years with the emergence of AI, large language models, quantum computing, nanotechnology, and blockchain, which have all made it into the mainstream. And that makes CS an appealing first choice. Students and families also see it as a probable way to have a secure, well paying job that might offer some flexible or work from home alternatives. There's also been an explosion of coding boot camps, programming summer programs, and other opportunities to explore programming and computer science outside of school. Specific to UT, Austin is increasingly a hub for prominent tech startups and legacy corporations. However, I have genuine concerns about the viability of computer science degrees in the coming years. The emergence of LLMs that program and code well enough that some employers are hiring fewer recent graduates. Hiring rates in 2024 and into 2025 of mid-career, white-collar workers in most industries, including tech, are at similar levels of the 2008 Great Recession. No-code programming allows users like me, who have no programming experience, to make an adequate e-commerce storefront, for example. The varied computer science job subreddits seem to be freaking out over their job prospects. Overhiring during the pandemic has also led to significant layoffs from prominent tech firms in the previous 2 years. They're also taking away many of those cushy perks or work from home setups. So even if you're sold on a CS degree, it might be helpful to try and imagine the world into which you might be graduating. It wouldn't be a surprise if the demand for CS degrees actually decreases in the next decade and shifts to other programs, especially if we have an emergence of artificial general intelligence. It would be cliche to say, but if it weren't true, that the careers and skills that are most in demand 5 or 10 years from now would be in fields that we cannot yet imagine. And this is what everyone told me and my friends when we were in university in the late 2000s and early 2010s. For example, during that time, the Bitcoin white paper was released during my sophomore year at UT in 2008. And now, cryptocurrency is a global industry worth over $3 trillion. Other examples that weren't on the radar in the late 2000s include things like biomedical engineering and CRISPR technology, data science and big data, cloud computing, smartphones and the App Store, electric vehicles, and privatized outer space industries. UT Austin has many programs that are adjacent or even overlapping with computer science. Some of them are more competitive than others, but there are some that are also more attainable. Alternatives that are still pretty competitive include mechanical engineering, with, for example, an emphasis on robotics and mechatronics. UT has electrical and computer engineering, or also aerospace engineering for things like drones and unmanned flight. Moderately competitive alternatives include the Macomb School of Business, Management Information Systems, MIS program. There's Statistics and Data Science in the College of Natural Sciences. CNS also has applied math, computational biology, and physics. Somewhat less competitive majors are informatics. There's the Arts and Entertainment Technology programs and Fine Arts. And there's also a new major in the College of Liberal Arts that I don't know a whole lot about, but it's called Behavioral and Social Data Sciences. You can also look at certificates or minors that any major can pursue in things like statistics and data science, computational science and engineering, applied statistical modeling, elements of computing, which is like the CS minor. UT has quantum information science and also scientific computation. I also raise these alternatives to point out how some of these might fit better for our rapidly changing global economy and technology sectors. Nevertheless, if you're a student who ranks at the very top of your high school class, if you have a 1500 or higher on the SAT, and if you have a strong CS-related or more broadly STEM resume, then you should still consider putting UTCS as your top choice, even though it is very competitive. You can also apply for computer science or computer engineering at other universities like Texas A&M or UT Dallas, or your chances might be higher. And then you could select one of these alternative majors that I mentioned in this video for your first choice major at UT Austin. I hope you enjoyed this video about the potential perils of applying for UT Austin computer science and also computer science degrees in general. The easiest way to reach me is by email at kevin@texadmissions.com and to complete the questionnaire in the information section of this video for a free email admissions consultation. Thanks, and I hope you have a great day.